This is Fred Beck from Fred Talks Fighting. I'm joined once again, almost reunited, with Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. Stephen, it's good to see you again. It's been a little bit of time since our last chat. How are you? How's life? How are things?
Oh man, it's awesome, brother. Glad to be on with you, my brother. Appreciate you having me on. But you know, I took some time off after my last fight and back at it, man. Back into training, helping our guys get prepared for their fights they got coming up, and ready to get back at it, brother.
I know you've got all the stuff to do with the kids, with the karate camps, and then the people you're training with as well. Do you now have to be more selfish to kind of focus on yourself to make sure you're in the top tip condition for your next fight?
It's funny because I've been doing this for so long. I live at the gym, I live at the school here at Upstate Karate in Simpsonville. It's a family-run business, and I'm here more than I am at home. And the the teaching aspect of it, I love it. I didn't become the fighter I am today until I started teaching the martial arts. It's something that you have to understand a little bit more, got to be more intimate with the techniques and things like that. So I love teaching. I love going out there, spending time with our students. And like I said, I didn't become the fighter I am today if it wasn't for my teaching. So that's something that I still do. And I know how to prioritize my training also over my teaching as well. So if for instance, over the summer, we have karate camps and things like that going on. During my fight, I didn't do any karate camps. I kept up with the teaching, but I didn't keep myself too busy where I was not focused on my training. So yeah, man, it's definitely a balance that I've learned to that I had to figure out earlier on in my fight career for sure.
Any names in mind before the next fight who you're sort of training towards, who the UFC have offered you, or who you would like to suggest to the UFC?
Man, obviously they were talking about the White House fight, and George Masvidal came up. Me and George Masvidal. I think some outlets, some MMA outlets that came up with like a mock card for that fight, and
Hmm.
they wanted to see me and George Masvidal fight. So that would be cool if he wanted to come out and and that's something that he's always talked about is running that back. So I think that would be a very interesting fight for sure.
Have you spoken to
But
the UFC about
anybody
that?
else though, I don't know, man. I don't know if of anybody else uh, that I would like to fight. Everybody wants me to fight MVP, but me and MVP both are like, I don't know, man. I think it would be a boring fight. And he's doing really well in the 185 division. So I don't know, man. We'll just have to see.
The fight with you and
I think
Masvidal, have you spoken to the UFC about that?
about who?
About you and Masvidal?
No, I haven't spoken with the UFC. I have talked with my team about uh, D Rod. I think D Rod would be a good fight as well. I think he just won his last fight. So I think he would be an awesome. He's a good striker as well. So everybody wants to see somebody get knocked out. I think D Rod would be a good one too. But no, I haven't talked to the UFC or anything about that yet. But I'm hopefully going to get with my management and talk about what the next step. Can we get on that card, or can we bring the UFC to my hometown in Greenville, South Carolina? So I think either one of those would be awesome. Would be epic.
How would a fight between you and Masvidal go on the UFC White House? It'd be pretty cool. It's almost like a dream come true for an American fighter to fight there.
Yeah, man. I mean, George Masvidal was a huge Trump advocate. Whenever Trump was getting back into politics and wanted to become president again. So I know he showed interest in wanting to fight on that card, come out of retirement to fight on that card, and of course, why not two guys that fought each other before, and exciting strikers to really go out there and put on a show for the fans. For that would be awesome. It would be epic.
Certainly. Any American's dream. Did you see Conor McGregor come out today and say he wants 100 million and then also 10 gold? Oh, sorry. Conor McGregor wants 100 million and 10, oh, then 100 golden visas for him to main event the White House or at least fight on the White House card. Your thoughts on that?
That's crazy, bro. I mean, that's 100 million. I don't think that's ever been done. That's never been done in UFC history. So I think that's kind of wild, man. I mean, could they make that happen? Maybe. But who would he fight? Michael Chandler? Like, I don't know, man. Come on. You're gonna have to have for 100 million, man. That's ridiculous. I know he's trying to be president in Ireland and things like that. He's had 100 visas too.
100 golden visas, yeah.
Holding golden visas. Wow, man. That's wild. I mean, you never know. Conor McGregor can talk his way into anything.
Yeah, certainly. Do you think he's worth that?
I think if he was more consistent, if he's in has been in the game kind of consistently the past few years, maybe. And if he's won, but he hasn't won. When was the last time Conor has won a fight? He got beat by Dustin Poirier twice. Um, and it's been a while since we have seen him out there fight again. So no, man, it made sense when he fought boxing. There's more money in boxing for fighters, but UFC, I think that's got a little far fetched. But yeah, man, I don't see that happening.
For him and Michael Chandler, I guess. And what other American champions do you think they could fight on that card? I mean, John Jones, are there any UFC American champions besides any females?
None. There's no American UFC champions right now. None. None. We got to. I mean, I know the UFC has been pushing, outside of America has been pushing, Russians and the Chinese. The you know there is no American champions right now, which I think it hasn't been done in such a long time or ever. I'm not sure. We got to step up our game, brother. We got to step up our game.
Why do you think it is that there's no American champions in the UFC? Is it just that maybe the American fighters have got too relaxed and everyone else around the world have upped their game in different aspects?
Well, business wise, I think it makes sense. Business wise, I know a lot of the fighters in America, we can be a little diva sometimes and want to ask a little bit more than we should get. But I think for business wise, I think it's cheaper for the UFC to get these guys coming from Russia and all these, Kazakhstan and all these other places. I think they're happier with the money that they are getting, so that makes sense. Um, Especially with the skill level that these guys are coming in with. They're just amazing. So I think it is cheaper, but I think it's uh, they're willing to do a little bit more of what the UFC wants. Us Americans, we can kind of we have a tendency to fight back sometimes. We want you to do this, we want you to do that. We're like, nah, we're not doing that. But people from other countries are I think, a little bit more willing to do those things, and still be able to put on a good show and still fight. Um, I mean, look at Alex Pereira, for instance. I mean, he fought how many times the last two? Of course, he's taken some time off, but I think that sometimes can wear and tear on the body a little bit. As you saw his last fight, didn't look the same. But I'm excited for that fight coming up too. So, a lot of variables in why they're promoting more outsiders of America in the UFC.
Mm. Do you think Alex Pereira can beat Ankalaev in the rematch?
100%. 100%. I mean, we all know when we watched that last fight. I was there live, actually. When we watched that last fight, we all knew that wasn't the same Alex Pereira. I mean, he looked a little slow. His reaction times weren't there, and it's almost like his mental state wasn't there. I mean, he had his moments, but it wasn't the same Alex Pereira as of old. Now, I predicted this because I've seen it in fighters before. Cowboy Cerrone was notorious for doing this. Neil Magny. I've seen it, in Kevin Holland sometimes. These guys who are so active in the fight game, they would win 4 fights in a row and then they would lose the fifth fight. Win 4 fights, lose a fight. Win 4 fights, lose a fight. They're so consistent. They don't allow their bodies to heal up, right? So they lose their timing. Their body's worn down. Their reaction time isn't there. Their mental game isn't there, and that's what we saw in Alex Pereira. But if you noticed, he's taking some time off. I think his coaches are smart. They said, look, you need some time off. You got to give your body time to heal up. You got to give your mind time to rest. So I think he's going to come back with a vengeance. I think he's going to be the old Alex of old, and he's going to go out there and do work.
Certainly, I know. It'd be great to see Alex is a lot more interesting to watch, more fun to watch Ankalaev. So it'd be good to see a striker as champion rather than all these grapplers to make it a little bit more boring. We'll talk about this then.
100%.
Did you see the Misfits MMA stuff they did recently on the recent show? Obviously, Tony Ferguson getting his first win in boxing or first win in a while. Dillon Danis in MMA. Also, your Darren Till. What are your thoughts on all of this?
think it's awesome. I think it's great, man. You're seeing some of these guys, especially in Darren Till, Tony Ferguson getting a win. You know, a lot of these guys, they got out of the UFC, and for a while there, Darren Till went MIA. Like we didn't know what this guy was doing. Wasn't doing so hot in the UFC, and we didn't really hear a whole lot. He kind of revamped himself, rebranded himself with this new boxing thing that he's doing, and it's cool to be able to see a fighter like him, who I shared the octagon with, kind of rekindle that flame a little bit and remotivate himself in boxing. And he's doing really well. He's doing great. Knocked out Luke Rockhold. He's got some wins in boxing, making some really good money. Even Tony Ferguson fighting. God, what's the guy's name? I forgot the guy's name. Who's the
Salt
YouTuber, but he's
Pappy.
got hands.
Salt
What was his
Pappy.
name?
Salt
Yeah,
Pappy.
and
Yeah.
and and he's a good boxer, and he goes out there and gets the W. Now, I did think it was a little early of a stoppage, but I thought he was doing really well in that fight. So it's good to see these old school fighters kind of come back and find themselves in boxing, which is two completely different sports. People look at combat sports as, oh, they're the same. They're not. The distance is different. You don't have to worry about takedowns. You don't have to worry about kicks. You're fighting guys who are mainly focused on their hands, which I trained with boxers before. Bro, they are the hardest hitting mamma jammas I've ever had the privilege to spar with. I mean, Adonis Stevenson, world champion. I met him in Montreal, Canada when I was training with George St. Pierre. Dude hit so freaking hard. And it's cool to be able to see these guys go out there and do work.
What do you think of Tony Ferguson's skills, though? I take it you I don't know if you watched the fight or you saw the highlights, but the majority of people were counting him out, though. Not many people thought he was going to beat him. He was going to beat Salt Pappy.
Yeah, I mean, so Poppy was he's a young guy and he's got talent and he showed real focus and concern on his fight game and kind of really focused on that, which is cool. Um, he was landing some shots. Tony Ferguson, I think he's got more experience than he does. Um, I did think it was an early stoppage, but I did see Sal Papi kind of slow down a little bit. And Tony Ferguson is the type of guy that just doesn't get tired. So I think it would have gotten worse as the rounds went on. So it was good to see him. I'm glad to see Tony Ferguson go out there and get a W in this sport, get some positivity. And Tony Ferguson's used to it. He's always got guys counting him out, and he always comes back with a win. You know what I mean? Tries to anyway. So I'm proud of him, man. I thought it was great.
Who would you want to see Tony Ferguson fight in boxing next?
Oh my goodness, I wouldn't want him to be fed to anybody for sure. So to be honest with you, I don't know. I don't know anybody else in that weight class. I think he went up in weight. Maybe it was 170. I'm not sure. 185. I'm not
It was the fight was at 175.
175. I don't know other guys that are in that weight class, but I mean, there's got to be other guys who have maybe retired out of MMA, maybe want to go to boxing, that he could fight. But I think he would do really well, with the bigger gloves. I think, and the knockdown rules, I think he can do fairly well. It's just I don't want to see somebody like him take too much damage.
Hmm.
He's been in the fight game for so long, and in MMA, those last few fights were just hard to watch. And I hate seeing old school guys like that who are once at the top, take damage like that. So I hope him and his team are very smart with who they fight next, whoever it is.
Yeah, certainly. He's a very nice person as well, behind the scenes and in
He
front of the
is.
camera. A gentleman for sure, Tony. And did you see the Dillon Danis fight? I know it's very, very short, but it's almost like the Pride promotion back in the day, having the MMA fighters fight in the boxing ring instead of the octagon. What do you make of Dillon Danis's MMA fight after so long, after being out of the octagon or in the ring for so long?
I mean, I thought it was good. I thought it was a good fight. I mean, he finished the guy fairly quickly. I think they fed him a guy. I don't remember the guy's name that he fought, but it was just a super quick finish. And I remember immediately afterwards, he's calling everybody out. That guy, it's funny. It's weird to see a guy very inconsistent with fighting, still getting the buzz that he gets just because he loves to talk trash on social media. I
Mm.
think is very interesting. And hats off to the guy. I thought he did it. I thought he did really good. So hopefully we'll see him more within the next few months than rather than the next few years.
Hmm.
I mean, the guy's not getting any younger, so hopefully he'll be able to fight more consistent.
It's looking like the fight between him and Eddie Hall might be happening. Do you know Eddie Hall?
Yeah, man, I think that would be a really good fight. I'm actually really that's a better fight than the last one for sure.
How does that go? Because Eddie Hall is like 400 pounds and he's like one of the world's
Dude,
strongest men.
that's the thing, like, and that's what makes this fight so crazy. Can the small guy get him down, right? Everybody says that about the smaller guy, the jiu-jitsu guy, you know, and you see it with these bigger guys who are coming from this bodybuilding background. Oh, I can beat this little guy. I can beat this guy. And a lot of other fighters are like, no, you can't. No, you can't. He's got a higher skill level, blah, blah, blah. But, you know, Eddie Hall, he's got some talent. He's got some skill. So a little bit of skill with a big body and good cardio is a very dangerous guy. And he's a hard hitting mamma jamma. Can he beat him? I don't know. I think it's like a flip of a coin. I know in most people's eyes, they're going to look at the bigger guy for sure. Because, people look at that. People look at size. Me coming from the fight world, size doesn't always matter. I've got guys like way smaller than me. Like, Ryan Hall, for example. I don't know if you know who Ryan Hall is. They call him the
Hmm.
Wizard.
He would always
I
say a
know,
little like ankle pick submission, wasn't he?
bro. I know I'm more athletic than the guy. I'm bigger than him. I feel like I'm stronger than him. He plays with me, bro. Like, it's the most humbling sport you could ever go, compete in, because the small guys are the dangerous ones. I mean, those are the guys you got to watch out for. So I'm interested in seeing that fight. I think it'd be funny.
What's your prediction for that? Can you give me someone? Who do you think wins this?
Oh man. Um, I don't know if Hall knows how to defend against heel hooks or anything like that, or if that's going to be in a clause. If that is allowed, I'm going for Donis, because I know he will take your leg home with him. If he gets him down and gets around that ankle, I think it's over. But if he get, oh man, I'm gonna go. This is tough. It's tough. So many things can happen for sure. I'm going for Donis.
Okay, Dillon Danis the win there. And then just one last thing before I let you go. Darren Till obviously returning to boxing. He's kind of revived his career in a huge, huge way. It was a very impressive knockout over Luke Rockhold. Would you ever see yourself rematching Darren Till in boxing? Would that be a possibility? So you guys already fought in the UFC, and maybe a few fights down the road. Would you consider taking that fight?
I would love to fight boxing. I feel like I can strike all day long. Now I know he's a bigger opponent. I think he fought at 185, or maybe I think it was 200.
Yes, he normally fights like he fights quite heavy now, like 195 or
Yeah,
about 185
185.
to to 205. That's his like weight.
Okay. I know he's a heavier guy now, but dude, you never know, man. I would love to run it back with Darren Till. I felt like I won that fight in Liverpool when I fought him last time. Of course, it went the other way. Um, and I've always been a big fan of Darren Till and his career. I love seeing him, get the W in boxing. So you never know, man. I think it would be fun.
And how many fights do you reckon you got left in the UFC contract? Do you look to renew that
Well,
contract, or do you like have three, four, five, six? How many more fights do you want to have in the UFC?
I've got one fight left on my contract.
Wow. Okay.
One fight left. And I would love to keep fighting, man. I would love to keep doing it. I'm a guy who can still go out there. Even Dana White said it, can still compete with the young bucks, and I feel like I can continue on. I've got one fight left. I want to see how that goes, and we'll go from there. If they'll have me, if they'll have me, I'll keep fighting for them. If not, we'll go different routes, man.
Okay. So the boxing it does interest you then, going on to Mrs. Boxing or doing some sort of boxing match in the future does sort of
100%.
take your
I think
interest.
I would have to like work my way up to that fight. Like, you know what I mean? Like have like one
Oh,
or
I'm
two
not saying
fights,
jump
and
in there. I'm
then
not saying jump in there with Darren straight away. I'm saying like have a few
oh
boxing fights at some stage in
yeah,
your
yeah, yeah. I
career.
think I
Yeah.
think it'd be awesome. I would love that. 100%.
Certainly. What weight would you want to be fighting at?
Probably closer to my walk around weight for sure. Like, the older I get, the tougher it is to
And what
cover
weight is
me.
that, Stephen?
That's welterweight that I'm
Welterweight.
fighting at
Okay.
now. So, which is 170.
Hmm.
Um, but I wouldn't mind fighting at 185,
You can fight
190.
Tony Ferguson.
Dude, what weight is he fighting at?
Well, he fought at 175, 170, 175.
No way.
Yeah.
Dude, I feel like I can make 175 easy. 170 is a little tough, but 175 I can make that. But I mean, I don't think these guys are really cutting a lot of weight. So maybe I shouldn't cut that weight. Maybe I should fight at 190 or 195 and fight Darren too. You know what I mean? So I think that would make more sense. I mean, we fought each other before, so that would be fun, man.
Darren Till loves the trash talk, and I don't think he'd be able to
He
trash talk
does.
you because you're just so nice. So I think you'd almost you'd quite confuse him in the build up because obviously you're so nice, and he knows how you are because you fought him before, you've had
Yeah.
the build up before. He'll be a bit confused because he wouldn't want to talk trash to you, but he still want to be himself at the same time, you know?
Yeah, I think it would be interesting for sure. Finding somebody who does like to trash talk, and I don't, man. I just, I like to be chill. I like to be myself. You know what I mean? I'm not very good at trash talk. I just kind of laugh about it. You know what I mean? So it would be interesting for sure. But yeah, that would be a very interesting fight. I mean, I know he's killing it right now, so I know I've got some work to do if that's the case. So yeah, man, you never know. You might see me in some boxing here pretty soon.
Yeah, that'd be pretty good. I'll tell Mams when I see Mams next week. I'll say, Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, one fight left in his UFC contract.
Let's
That's a,
go.
that's a big possibility. But yeah, Stephen, as always, thank you very much for your time. It's your brother Tony who I'm talking to on email. That's correct, Tony Thompson.
Yes, that's my little big bro.
Okay, I'll send him an email to
He's
say
my
thank you for setting
brother,
it
but
up.
he's like, I'm the oldest, but I'm the runt of the litter. So yeah, sweet tea that you're talking with.
And what have you got on for the next few weeks? Anything special? Anything cool to look forward to?
Well, nothing yet, man. We've got a handful of guys. I got some kickboxing MMA fights coming up, so I'm helping those guys get ready. We got a fresh heavyweight pro from Italy, just moved to Greenville, South Carolina, that we're building up. Who's got some fights underneath him? I think he's another guy that you got to watch out for. My buddy Gino Morelli, who's going to make it in the contender series here pretty soon. Wrestled for Penn State, up there with Bo Nickel. His striking is just unbelievable. So another guy to watch out for. My buddy Gino Morelli. He's got a big social media presence on Instagram and things like that. Everybody in the wrestling world knows of him. So it's another guy to be looking out for. So we got some up and coming guys from our gym that everybody needs to look out for. So keep your eyes peeled for sure.
All right, well, that all sounds pretty exciting. Sounds like you got a very busy next 2 weeks or 3 weeks ahead of you before the end of the year. But Stephen, as always, thank you very much for your time. I know you're busy, but hopefully I'll see
Pleasure.
you soon. Thank you very much.
All right, Fred. You have a good one, buddy.